Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Steve Collins coming to you from beautiful San Antonio, Texas, the second most powerful, passionate, and purposeful coach and speaker in the world. You want to have an affair? I have the privilege of studying something that a mother of a king wrote to her son. Now, this is going to be geared a little bit more towards guys, and there are some things that ladies will be able to glean from this. And the reason I'm not driving this morning is because this is a serious subject, and I want to give it the credence that it deserves. Okay, so here's what the mother of a king wrote to her son in respect to being careful. She said, "My son, be attentive to my wisdom and pay close attention to my understanding, in order to safeguard discretion, that your lips may guard knowledge. For the lips of an adulterous woman drip like honey, and her seductive words are smoother than oil. But in the end, she is as bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death, and her steps lead straight to the grave. Lest she should make level the path leading to life, her paths are unstable, but she doesn't even know it. So now, my son, listen to me. Do not turn aside from the words I speak. Keep yourself far from her, and do not go near the door of her house, lest you give your strength to others and your years to a cruel person, lest strangers devour your strength or wealth, and your labor benefit another man's house. And in the end of your life, you will groan when your flesh and body are wasted away, and you will say, how I hated discipline, how I hated rebuke. For I did not obey my teachers, and I did not heed my instructors. I almost came to complete ruin in the midst of the whole congregation." Then she says, "Drink water from your own cistern and running water from your own well. Should your springs be dispersed outside, flowing to the streets? Let them be for you and yourself alone, not for strangers with you. May your fountain be blessed, and may you rejoice in the wife of your youth, a loving doe, a graceful deer. May her breasts satisfy you at all times, and may you be captivated by her love always. Why should you be captivated, my son, by an adulteress, and embrace the bosom of a different woman? For the ways of a person are in front of the Lord's eyes, and that Lord weighs all of that person's path. The wicked will be captured by his own iniquity, and he will be held by the cords of his own sin, and he will die because there was no discipline. Because of the greatness of his folly, he will fall." Still want to have an affair? The challenge that we have here is this, guys, and I don't stand in judgment. You know me not to be a very judgmental person at all, because I'm looking to raise standards, and I'm looking to raise awareness, and I'm looking to cultivate and create change in the way that people think. Guys, I know it's so much easier to eat Krispy Kreme and to avoid the gym and to spend more than you make. I know it's easier to do things that are easier to do when things get hard. And I tell people all the time, there's two types of married people, in my opinion. There's people who are really fighting and struggling to have a great marriage, and then there's people who are lying about it. Or maybe then there's those people who just don't care, and they've kind of given up on it, and they've just decided that they're going to be okay with being roommates and status quo. So here's the good news I want to share with you. I get why you want to have an affair. I totally understand why it would be there. For a guy, it's completely different. For a guy, if he doesn't... You see, women connect and bond through communication and relationship. And I've talked about it before. I'm not embarrassed to say it. It's medical science. Oxytocin is a chemical that's released when women communicate and they connect with each other. Oxytocin is like a super glue. It's a bonding agent. And you see women have it at significantly, I mean like tons and tons and tons and tons higher than guys at all time. Which is why ladies tend to connect with each other through relationship. Do you know the only time that oxytocin is released in a man for bonding at the level of women conversing intently? It's when the guy does his thing at the end of that sexual encounter. When that is released from a man's body, it releases and pours the oxytocin over the brain, just like it does when ladies communicate. So the bonding factor for a guy to feel connected and close to and a part of his wife in this case, or any other person, is when that act occurs, which is why pornography is such a deadly deal, because a man is connecting with images and ideas and thoughts that actually turn ladies into an object and no longer require a guy to have to develop the skill set to communicate and relate to earn the privilege to have that thing take place, if you understand what I'm saying. So what happens is in a marriage, when people tend to get upset, the guys tend to shut up and get silent, which affects their oxytocin connecting release. And the women tend to close up downstairs, you ain't getting none of that, which shuts off that oxytocin release. So when that's going on, that's a very destructive pattern that can cause people to begin to look outward. Well, I bet if I was with so-and-so, he would treat me so much better. Well, I bet if I was with her, she'd give it to me whenever I wanted. And this cycle goes on. So here's how I'm going to end today, because this is something I could teach on for days. It's all your fault. Man, woman, it's all your fault. Once you accept complete and total responsibility for your part in that relationship, you and only you can change. Nobody else is going to change you. Nobody else is going to do it. And if you're waiting for your mate to change before you change, welcome to your future, buddy. Jim Rohn says it this way: for things to change, you've got to change. For things to get better, you've got to get better. You're the only person that can make the change. And I'm going to tell you, here's the hard part. The hard part is you may have to grind, work on you weeks, months, maybe even years before you see a change in that other person. But here's what's behind door number 5, Bob? Let me tell you what's behind door number 5 with that affair. The same stuff you're going through today with your spouse. The same stuff. Give it a little bit of time, the same issues will come up, because the issues that you carry with you, well, wherever you go, there they are. They're with you. So for things to get better, you've got to get better. What's my hope to you today and my encouragement to you today? My hope and encouragement to you today is the grass is not greener over there. The grass is greener where it gets watered. You're holding the hose. You're holding the fertilizer. It's up to you to decide how you're going to invest in what has been given to you. The covenant you made, man, go back to that wedding day. Go back to when you were courting. What was it about the other person that so captivated you that today may become a frustration to you? Go back to that original place and realize this. If you're going to be with anybody, there's going to be issues. If you're going to be with anybody, there's going to be work. Oh, sure, there'll be a little tryst, fun, exciting, stimulating thing for a season. But in the end, it's going to bring death and pain and hurt, and you'll never, ever fully recover from that wounding, nor will those around you, maybe even your children. There's a huge price to pay for this. If you're going to pay the price, I'm going to say, pay the price for maintenance, not for repair. The price for maintenance is far less expensive and far less emotionally taxing than the price of repair. Wherever you go, there you are. Want to have an affair? Doesn't seem so sexy anymore, does it? Only you can change, and I'm counting on you to do it today. Have a great day, guys.